G'day walkers. I am the bloke who walks. You're listening to yet another content creator's commentary, which is largely just me sitting here talking to myself, because the stats for these particular videos, I'm going to be honest, they're not hugely flattering, but I persist with doing these commentaries. I find them incredibly useful as a way of just reflecting back on the whole experience of conceiving
Let's go.
An idea or a theme for where I want to film, executing that concept into an actual activity. I'm still really enjoying walking aimlessly around the streets of Melbourne with a camera in a high-vis vest. The mask, not so much, and the mask is going to be a little bit of a topic of conversation in this video. But this particular video, once I had the idea for it, this is not my local area. This is the suburbs of Alphington in Melbourne's hipster, environmentally conscious, bike riding, Greens voting, hipster doofus suburb. And I say that with affection because every community needs its supporters of nature and the wildlife, and if you walk these streets anytime when there's an election on at local government level, state government level or federal level, you will see quite a few of these houses left and right of the camera endorsing Greens candidates or Labor candidates. They'd choke on their cornflakes if they thought that you thought they might vote Liberal. But look, straight away, you can see the street that I'm walking down at the moment filming is the whole reason why I filmed this video. This isn't an area local to me. I didn't grow up here. I've never worked here. I've never lived here. Although an interesting fast fact is that my dad actually in the 70s did used to work about straight ahead of the camera, and used to work at a place that used to they were called Presswell Panels, and I can say that name because the company doesn't exist anymore, that business, and they used to make paneling for rooms like rumpus rooms or pool rooms, that sort of thing. And he worked well, just a short walk ahead of the camera, really. In fact, I'll tell you when we get sort of near it. But look, you can see this street, and it's autumn, and it's sunny, and it's the afternoon. There's a woman about to pass on the left-hand side on a bike. I was trying as much as possible. There she is, and she's typical of the residents here. I used the clip of her in the intro, and I cut the edit just as she was almost raising her hand, just to have a little laugh to myself that she was holding up her hand, that she was about to encounter a fast speeding car. And the funny thing was that she then circled back towards me. Very unusual riding strategy. She's got there, she is waving to someone else. And as I was walking closer, I'm still feeling self-conscious to a large extent. I'm not a local. I was walking, filming this video in the high-vis vest in smart casual gear. It was a sunny day, so I had my new Brixley broad-brimmed felt hat on. I'm very conscious of filming kids, so you can see that I'm trying so hard. I just noticed that woman with the pram. And when the woman on the bike circled back, I was thinking, oh, because the last thing, I just wanted a smooth shoot for this video, and I wanted to walk down the middle of this road underneath all these magnificent, I'm pretty sure they're elm trees, and I'm having a cup of tea while I'm talking, sorry. And I just wanted to capture the turning of the leaves. This was on the last day of April. This particular day, in the sunlight, it was reasonably warm for an autumn day, and I'd been down that street a few days before, and I just knew I had to come back and film it. The day that I was there, the week before, there was a lot of activity in the street where the locals and the residents were coming out of their houses. Every second or third house there was someone with a rake, and they were all furiously raking their leaves into the gutter. And a council vehicle came into the street not long after, sucking, not sweeping or spraying, but sucking the leaves through from the road, directly off the road into the back of the vehicle. And I did ask somebody on the way back to the station, how often does the bloke come round? And she was quite miffed, not because I asked her a question. She's just generally miffed that she said, oh, he just comes around, pleases himself. We never know when he's coming. There's no timetable. So from her answer, I assumed that when they're having their late afternoon cuppa. Now I'll interrupt myself. Like, look at this. Look at these insects. Now the Sony ZV-1 vlogging camera picked those up beautifully, so I deliberately walked through them. But yeah, I just got the impression that she was a bit miffed at the lack of routine about that. But you could see from that street that we've just come out of that leaves are a bit of a problem. But that's just one thing I love about that street. This street, I knew which route I was going to walk, and I had a predetermined route mapped out in my head, and I wanted to take advantage of walking into the setting sun. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And my timing, the timing of the filming of this video was crucial, because I wanted to catch the sun at a level where it showed off those elm trees to the fullest extent, that the sun would be streaming through at a certain angle, but not too late in the afternoon, that the sun would be obscured by the trees, or I really wanted that magic hour effect, and I think I achieved that. But the only trouble was, now see that car in front of me? I did not know until I got behind the car, because it's about now that I saw the windows down. I had no idea that I was walking towards a car with someone in it. And normally, every time I walk these streets, there is no one around, and I came across a lot of people. Here's another person in the car, and this is the first time I'm filming, and this is the first time that I've ever seen people sitting in cars. That woman on the bike earlier. Normally, if I'm lucky to see anyone, it'll be a school kid, a random school kid coming home early, who got out early for whatever reason. Now, the only downside about this video is that I knew exactly where I wanted to walk, and I wanted to do a circular loop. So if you pay attention, and if you take the time to watch the whole video, if you watch carefully, you'll notice that I actually do a loop and backtrack on myself, and sort of do this very disjointed figure eight is basically the route that I'm taking. And what I realised as I was walking, and it's not that I made a mistake or anything, but I realised that I'd have to be walking down some streets like this one, which didn't have the same sort of trees that I wanted to capture. So at this point, I was starting to feel a little bit. Well, I don't know what the right word was, but this wasn't what I wanted to film. To be honest, this sort of. But then I was thinking, well, I've watched similar. I have watched some videos of other YouTube channels. Other people have filmed in streets that really, in a pink fit, you wouldn't even want to be paid to watch, the video of someone walking down a street like this. But they're far bigger channels than me. They've got far, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and so to be walking down this street is no mistake or no problem. I'm showing you a side of Melbourne that I haven't really filmed before. Here's one of these more mature elm trees. You can see the leaves on the ground, and there's so much fun as a kid, or even as a carefree adult. You might enjoy kicking those leaves or brushing past them. Now, so we're heading in a southerly direction now, almost directly south, and I'll be crisscrossing east and west and north and south, but it's mainly a north-south route. And we're coming up to a local oval. I was tossing up whether to walk through the oval, and I thought, no, I'll stick to the roads. My intention was to always walk down the middle of the roads. This particular street, well, because there was not the same amount of trees, mature trees, I decided to stick to the fence. And as I turn around here, I am about to veer out onto Separation Street. This is a main bus route that goes east-west. It's a very narrow street. It's a very busy one as well. I didn't know that cyclist was coming, but the reason I went onto the road is because there's that schoolgirl on the scooter, and again, I just don't want to film kids. For the simple reason it's just impractical to do it, and I want to respect the privacy of the individual who's riding home from school, doesn't want to be in a YouTube video. I don't want to get into trouble. So as we turn around this corner, it's not the same street, it's a different street, but it's going the same direction, south to north. And you'll see this is the whole reason, this street, again, with these mature elm trees, this is the whole reason why I wanted to film this video at this time of day. And that's the reason why we're watching it at the moment. So you can see those leaves, and it actually looks, it's interesting, having created, I've created about 150, 160 videos now over 7 months, 8 months possibly. And usually the case is that sometimes the walk is actually looks better on screen than it does in real life. Well, this video is honestly definitely out on its own, in a league of its own, that it actually looks better in real life than it does on screen. Not because of anything negative about the camera or anything. It's just that it's just far nicer. You just got that. These trees just are just so visually luscious, if I can use that to describe them. And then you got the the afternoon air, the autumn air. It's nice in the sun. It's fresh in the shade. And sorry, I'm still finishing my tea. Yes, I'm still feeling self-conscious. You saw the dog walker there. This area does have a lot of dog walkers, a lot of cyclists as well. And then, of course, you've got to remember that Melbourne is still, we're still living with the virus in a very real way. It's been manifesting itself. That not long after this video, it's only recently, just last week, Melbourne came out of another 2 weeks, the fourth strict lockdown that we've had since the 20th of March in 2020. And and it's getting really noticeable. Like personally, I've noticed, it's really starting to affect. It's just that psychological effect, isn't it? So so I was still feeling a bit self-conscious. But I was starting to relax. I was really keen on. You can see I've developed this technique. You've probably the other videos. I like to crisscross backwards and forwards across the street. I like to mix it up so that you've got something different to look at. Because I don't know that it's all that interesting just to stare down a street straight ahead. Now I'm seeing that I'm speeding up here a little bit, and there would have been a reason why I was doing that. Oh, it's the dog walkers on the right with the Labrador. I was afraid that they were going to cross the road, and I wanted because I'm about to cross the road and head back down a different street. So at the moment we're about to turn right and cross the road after this car, and then head south again. So I was literally, walking in a sort of disturbed figure eight. I was backtracking on myself. Now we're going back down the original street that I came up, and I'm trying to get. This is a good view, but it's really that view walking south to north and into the sun that I really wanted to get. It's a nice view. We're now walking north to south, of course, but the trees they don't come up as well in this direction for me. You might think they come up all right, but I like the other direction better. I'm just finishing the tea. What have I been doing for the last 2.5 months? Now that was. Did you notice that leaf? I didn't notice that leaf drop in front of the camera while I was walking. It's funny. It's funny sometimes when I do these commentaries, especially that I see things and notice things and actually get to take in the walk in a different way, watching what I've filmed as opposed to when I was filming it. This particular walk, I was trying incredibly hard to replicate what the big successful channels with the hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views are doing, which is a perfectly still camera going down the middle of a street. Now the Sony is great for me. There's a kid on the left, so I'm trying to avoid him in the frame. The Sony is great, but it is, all my filming is handheld, so I'm relying on the stabilization technology in camera to help me out to keep the movement to a minimum. There's another leaf falling in front of the camera. That's another school kid. So I'm starting to feel like they're all coming home from school, so I hope I finish in time. But I'm not yet convinced that I need a gimbal because I've been pricing and researching gimbal rigs, and they're just so big. And what I loved about the Olympus, which is what I was using before I had the Sony. I mean, the Olympus was a perfect fit in the palm of my hand. The Sony, not so much, and now it's a little bit more involved. There's another dog walker. It's a little bit more involved that I've purchased a shooting grip. I haven't yet, even though I've had the Sony now for nearly 3 months, I haven't yet sorted out my filming technique. The way it sits in my hand. Like the first 2 or 3 videos I filmed with the shooting grip, I just didn't know where to hold it, and I didn't realise that every time my body turned left or right, that my body mechanics was automatically the camera was going off the perpendicular, so there was just too much imbalance in the horizon. So this particular video, looks like it's going to be the most successful one that I've created to date, where it's almost perfectly horizontal. It's almost perfectly still, and except for the final 50 meters of the walk, and I'll flag it when it comes. It's almost come out exactly the way that I wanted it to. So these particular streets, some of these streets I've never walked down before. Like, I definitely have a predetermined route when I do walk through this area. But I know this area well enough now, and I've caught the bus a couple of times over the journey, that I know roughly where everything interconnects. And just to fill you in, so I mentioned before that, you know, I've never lived in this area. I've never had friends live here or relatives. My vague connection to the areas that my dad used to work through the 70s at a fairly mid-sized business that used to produce panelling for homes, residential homes. And other than driving through this suburb to get to the Hume Highway to get out of Melbourne, well, before there was freeways, you know, this area, Alphington, it's a very small suburb. Like, there's only about 5,000 people in the area, and it's just one of those places that you drive through, which I'm sure is the case in many cities around the world, if you don't have a reason to stop or detour. So to get here, I don't have a car. I do have a license, but I don't need to drive, and I've not had a car for 14 years now, and I'm on public transport all the time. So to get from my side of town in the eastern suburbs, I've got to get a train almost all the way into the city, and then another train line almost all the way back. Because the trouble with Melbourne's transport is, the train network, is that it's a centralised train network. It doesn't interconnect in any sense like the London Metro, so you've got to go in then out. But that's changing because we are building a new metro tunnel, and they actually they finished their tunnelling. 9 kilometres of twin tunnelling was recently finished in the last week and a half, which is incredible because I've only been going 18 months with the digging. Anyway, so this is sort of the halfway point, and by this stage I was probably feeling a little bit mentally, like it does take a bit out of you mentally, that you're trying to concentrate, you're trying to make sure that you get the best footage possible. My preferred technique, I can't bring myself to hold the camera up at my chest. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So if that's the reason why people aren't flocking to my channel after 7 months to watch these videos, because it feels like you're walking around the streets looking at everything like a 9-year-old or a 13-year-old kid, it's because I'm holding the camera pretty much at my hip, which means that I can't really see the viewfinder to see, you know, the footage of what I'm capturing. I'm largely guessing, and it's largely intuition, that I'm capturing what I want to see. That the camera's got a nice that the frame is composed in a fairly acceptable way. That it's not too down, it's not too up. It's got a Goldilocks factor about it, that it's just right. Anyway, so but that's just the way I prefer to do it. To be honest, I do sometimes see people wandering around with tiny little 4K cameras, mini cameras, or their iPhones, and they've got the camera up to their face. I just can't do that myself. I'm just too. I'm not an attention seeker. I like I like going about things quietly. Anyway, so we're about halfway through here now. I forgot to flag earlier. There was the street before this one. There was a bloke came out, or he was going inside when I was about 10 to 15 metres away from him and approaching him, and he watched me the whole way that I walked past. And I must admit that I must look pretty odd to strangers. And this bloke took a good look at me as I went past. I mean, you know, I'm a bloke. I'm in my mid-50s. I've got grey hair. I'm wearing a fairly old style hat now these days. In the, you know, to keep the sun off my scalp. And I'm wearing a high vis vest. I'm dressed smart casuals, and I'm carrying a camera. So I knew that he was looking at me, but I just kept looking straight ahead, and I didn't change my cadence of my walk. And I was waiting for him to call out to me and say, I'm waiting all the time. I'm waiting for people to pull me up and say, oh, what are you doing, or what are you filming, or don't film me. Because Australians, we're fairly, even though we're very early adopters of technology, and everyone's doing it. And let's face it, we're all living under the closed circuit TVs these days. We're being filmed on trains and train stations, in streets, and the CBD, and cameras have got, cars have got dash cams. But at the same time, like, Australians are a fairly reserved bunch, and you know, you know, people, you know, I reckon I do look a bit odd walking around the streets. Anyway, so we're not far off the end of the walk. We've probably got about another 10 to 15 minutes at most. And so here's the train station. That's Alphington train station. That's the terminus for the eastern suburbs end of that particular bus route. My plan was to walk straight past the shops, but again, you wouldn't believe it, never happened before, but in front of me there was a whole lot of toddlers and kids and parents, and because there's a tiny little community centre, a little building that's a community neighbourhood drop-in centre, and it was there was people there. Never been people there, and this is the first time in all the time that I've been coming to this area that there's been people there. So I missed out on everything to the right of camera I wanted to film and walk through, and I was determined, you know, to do it all in one hit. And you can see why. This is magic hour. Just look at the way the sun's hitting the camera. And then it's coming through the trees. And so this is the moment. This is the street that I wanted to film at this time of day. There's the little community centre on the right. I've successfully walked past all the kids and not filmed them. Nobody's held me up. And this is the whole reason why I filmed this video, was to walk down this particular street with all these huge elm trees. And I'm just praying at this stage. I wanted to film it all in one shot, in one hit, in one take. And so far so good. That there's no school kids. There's something up there on the left. And I saw that and I thought, oh, I'll just keep going. And I wanted to walk down the middle of the street, and I had to be careful because as I mentioned, every time I turn my head or turn my body, now I'm aware that my body mechanics pull the camera down towards the ground, or I wanted to keep that horizontal frame. So far so good. She's not walking her dog. She's collecting leaves with her hands. Good luck to you, madam. Good madam. And I was scared. I was worried that she was going to notice me with the camera, and then she was going to get self-conscious and have a go at me or say something. And I wanted to. And so here we are. I've succeeded. As far as I'm concerned, I've succeeded. The video so far, I've got the perfect sunlight, the perfect time of day, the perfect ambience. There's not not any school kids. There's no cyclists. The traffic is fairly calm. Normally this street can have quite a few cars coming in both directions, and everything's going according to plan. And then I see something ahead which catches my eye, and now this is where, unfortunately, things are going to get very rough for the viewer, because up ahead there's kids in the street kicking the footy, and that's a great thing to see, to be honest, because when I was a kid, we were in the street or kicking footies after school in the street or in the backyard or down the oval. But kids these days, you just do not see kids kicking footies in the street. And I was very happy to see them, but not this day. Not this day. And I've never seen those kids ever kicking footies ever. And then to compound things, there was someone coming straight towards me. And then to make things even worse, the parents were there, talking over the fence. And it just ruined the whole shoot. And I just couldn't believe it. And then there's the tradie. It's all happening. It's all happening. And it's happening all at the wrong time, on the wrong day. Anyway, so I got through. And so I apologise for that, 20 metres of footage where the camera is just all over the place. But if you can forgive me and bear with me that my intentions were good. And then to rub salt in the wounds, there's there's the lady up ahead walking her dog. And I thought she was going to go left, and thank God she went right and went past. So at least I got some vision of a old lady walking her dog. So we've come to the end of this particular session, and for those of you paying attention, you will notice as we round the corner, we're going to finish at the very place that we started at. We've done a perfect loop in all sorts of directions, north, south, east and west, or north and south and then east and west, and traversing backwards and forwards. And here's some autumn leaves to finish up with. And I was pretty pooped by this stage. Now, one thing I haven't talked about is I walk around with a mask, whether they're mandatory or not. And unfortunately, especially not especially this video, but this video, you'll hear me breathing, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do except I could walk at snail's pace, and I don't want to do that. And I do walk fast because I do want to get as much as I can. I did all this on one battery, by the way, which was fantastic. I wanted to let you enjoy the sun, which is why I sort of played the camera on the trees a bit and looking up into the sky. And but you will hear me breathing on this video. Now, this introduction I filmed just down the street from where I finished the video, and I'm starting to settle into a technique with the editing, where I'm just having an intro of about 40 seconds worth of 2-second clips.
Let's go.
And then you'll get the call to action. Please subscribe, or please like at the very least.
I'm the bloke who
and this is an updated version of the Let's Go motif that I've started developing. I just like these. I think these, this motif of Let's Go, especially in this format, really shows off. I really do cover a lot of territory in Melbourne, and I think it's a bit of fun, and I think it's really important to have a bit of fun, because after 7.5 months of creating videos for this channel, I've only got nearly 65 hours of watch time, just over 2,000 views, and 20 subscribers. Well, I've got to make it fun for myself. So I'm the bloke who walks. You've been listening to me bang on again about making a video. And I will talk to you in the next video coming soon. Bye for now.